Alright, so real quick, I guess if you guys want, not the propeller hat, says Skylar. If you guys want, I can try and give, I'm not quite sure how good I'll be at it, but I'll try my best to try and explain, I guess kind of the origin of the reasoning. If you guys don't know, there's an entire beef that, like a hardcore beef that's like, I've been trying to put this off because it's a little bit more in the political realm, but this whole saga with H3, Hasan's community, Reddit is involved, and now, like I said, it's involving people like Mutahar, and you got all these different like people that are all involved. So it is mainly in the political realm, but it's kind of expanded out into just the internet kind of realm, I think, with all these creators and other people involved. So again, so if you don't know, I guess the origin of this whole thing, to anyone who's not a big, I don't know if anyone watches H3, their old H3 videos, I guess I should be showing this stuff off. So, like I said, so H3, they're a channel that's been around for a long time. I've mentioned them before, mainly because in my early like YouTube days, I was a big fan of I don't know if you guys have heard of the group, but there was Filthy Frank, there was an iDubbbz, and there was Max Mofo. Those were like the three main people in their group, and they were like known for doing super ridiculous, raunchy. I think Filthy Frank is actually my entryway into like this kind of, I guess, subculture of YouTube. Big Filthy Frank fan. Used to watch all of his videos, and then he would do stuff with iDubbbz and Max Mofo, and I would become kind of fans of all those guys. And eventually, they brought on H3, this guy, and his wife Hila, and I don't know. That was the first time I'd heard of H3. H3 was through one of their videos. I think it was a video where they sat down and they were answering questions from people in their communities. And of course, it's like a super vulgar, you know, that whole area of the internet was incredibly vulgar, incredibly not suitable for probably kids, or people, probably not people, not in general. But yeah, and that was from, gosh, all of these characters feel like a lifetime ago. All of these people are so drastically different. H3, him and his wife Hila would do a bunch of videos. They would eventually become very popular from, I think, Vape Nation, eventually doing a bunch of stuff. And then they would go on to eventually having a podcast, the H3 podcast. They'd get big. Filthy Frank would go on to be, he would eventually end up quitting Filthy Frank, his whole YouTube channel. All the videos are still there, but he ended up transforming into Joji, who was like a big name in the musical scene, and then he kind of disappeared incredibly quickly as well. So iDubbbz, he's same boat. He's kind of, I hate throwing the word fell off, because I don't hate any of these people, even, you know, but I don't know, his YouTube career was interesting. He would kind of continue doing the same things for a while, and then after he meets his wife, I think it's Anissa, they would go on and they would end up kind of creating the Creator Clash. If you haven't heard of that, that was like it is, I don't want to say that is like a big boxing event that they hold in Florida, down here every I think they've been doing it 3-4 years in a row. His YouTube career is kind of, I don't want to say dead, but like I honestly don't follow iDubbbz, and the one I really don't follow anymore is Max Mofo. I don't know, I don't know exactly what he does anymore. But yeah, I'm not in the same boat with a lot of people. Like, even though I don't pay attention to some of these, the only one, H3, is the only one I really pay attention to. The other ones I'm all kind of, you know, I don't pay attention to. But just because I'm in that boat, I've never been somebody that's like, oh, those guys, they changed up. They're not what they used to be. So I hate these guys now. You know what I mean? I'm just like, you know, I got respect for them. I very much appreciate the old content, and I hope them all well, you know, with what they're doing. The whole Joji thing is fascinating to me. What happened with Filthy Frank, like his whole rise to being one of the biggest names on YouTube, and then him having to quit due to medical conditions and stuff. I think he had what did he? I think he had epilepsy or something, or he had some condition that was causing him to have seizures or something. So he ended up quitting that, and then, yeah, like I said, became Joji, and then had to quit that, I'm guessing, because of those same medical issues, and now he, like... I don't want to say he's become, like, hateful, but I think he's very kind of ashamed of the old content he used to do. So he, like, hates people calling him Filthy Frank now, and, like... I'm honestly surprised he's left a lot of the content up. I would think at this point he would have, like... If he wants to disassociate himself from those old YouTube days, why leave all the content up? But I don't know. I mean, I every now and then I'll go back and watch one of those videos. But yeah, so that sets the groundwork for H3. That's where I know H3 from. Would go on to make the podcast. Now it's one of the bigger podcasts on YouTube in terms of, I don't want to say in terms of anything. It's probably in the top 50, biggest podcasts on YouTube. But yeah, went on to have a big channel. They've gone on to have quite a few events and dramas and different things. They've done collabs with, I think most notably, they did a show, and he did another talk show or podcast with Trisha Paytas, who's another big name on YouTube. They did a show called Frenemies. That went sour. That's a whole nother saga as well. And then eventually, H3 would become, I don't want to say enamored, but he'd become friendly with Hasan Piker, who was more in the political realm. And I think Ethan kind of wanted to dip his toes into there and got kind of interested in him. And I don't necessarily feel as though I think even he would admit he didn't do as much research and stuff into Hasan as he would have liked. But he would bring on Hasan and they would make a show called Leftovers, do a whole thing. And then, of course, if you don't know, Ethan is Jewish. And I think I remember Frenemies says Robot Slayer himself. Frenemies was interesting, man. That was quite the ride for a... Ethan and H3 are an interesting thing. They collab and make friends with people that, like... It's just like... Yes, they may be entertaining personalities, but it's just... It's like, dude, that... You know what I mean? Like, I think that's why their show is so great. Is because he's willing to kind of, like... go out of his way to chit-chat and talk with people that you just know in the long run it's not going to work out. Like, the whole Trisha thing, I thought Hasan thing would be okay, but the Trisha thing, to me, was obvious. It's like, oh, it's only a matter of time before they blow up on each other. And he's had a number of people on his show that are, like, friendly and come on, that are regulars that, like, bad things go wrong with. What was his name? What's the old man's name from H3? Or he was a part of the show. The Jersey Outlaw. I forgot his name, the Jersey Outlaw. But that guy, you could tell from, like, the very beginning. It's like, dude, he's going to do something to piss you guys off at some point. And I don't know. But yeah, essentially, back to the foundation of where things went wrong with this whole situation is, if you don't know, H3, Ethan and his wife and their family, they're all Jewish. His wife is from Israel along with her side of the family. So, when the whole, what was it, October 7th, October 6th, whatever that, I don't remember the date for that. Whenever that thing happened with, between Israel and Palestine, that ended up becoming a big deal, very sensitive topic for Ethan and his family. And if so facto, I'm not going to get into the specifics. Things didn't go well between him and Hasan. EXO, breakup. And I think the breakup started off as kind of, I don't want to say cordial, but it started off kind of like, okay, yeah, this was going to happen. And then slowly over like a couple of months, it started to like really pick up that like, oh, okay, there's a lot of animosity that kind of has sprung up immediately. And again, ever since then, it's been kind of them kind of criticizing one another and going back and forth. And then Ethan recently put out a, I guess you could call it a hit piece. I don't want to call it a hit piece, but he put out a content nuke on Hasan Piker, kind of really digging into him. And there's just been any number of of people in Hasan's community kind of going after Ethan, and there's been a lot of I don't know, it's just been a lot. It's been a lot of back and forth, and then just recently it all culminating in Ethan having CPS called to his house. So like, I guess let's dive into a video that kind of explains more. I'm just kind of trying to describe like my background with the whole community and kind of everything. I for one am not like a part of like Reddit, so I don't understand how Reddit works. I'm not really. I think I started a Reddit page, tried using it for advertising, and like, I don't know, I suck at a lot of this stuff. Shoot, it took some of you in chat to get me used to Discord. I'm a bit of a boomer when it comes to some of this stuff. But yeah, let's watch something that explains this. I feel like something that does a better job than I. Sounds like a lot, says Robot Slayer himself. It is a ton. Let's see, where would be a good place? Trying to think of what would be a good foundation that kind of explains everything from the beginning. I'm gonna try and find someone who I feel like is in the middle. I don't really want somebody who's gonna take sides. Again, we're trying to learn about this. I saw the Filthy Frank video. Let's check out did I say Filthy Frank? I meant Philip DeFranco. What's up, you beautiful?
Daily dive into the news. We have a lot to talk about on today's extra large show.
So let's see what Philly D has to say.
Dumpster fire, because there are actually several different news stories happening here, though kind of at the center of it you have Ethan Klein, Hasan Piker, and a creator by the name of Frogan. But where we'll start is with the fact that over the past few days,
he'll explain this saga.
Ignoring anti-Semitism by creators like Ethan Klein, multiple content creators have been banned for what were deemed hateful comments, and all of the fallout that's come from that as creators and fans go after one another. Though technically you could...
I totally forgot that Twitch is also involved in all of this. So you have like Hasan, a lot of people in his kind of vicinity, then you have Twitch, then you have Reddit. So you have kind of all of these like groups that are all like, I don't want to say seem like they're not like working together, but I don't know. Let's let Philly D explain it. I'm bad at explaining things.
Degrading Gazans, which, as we covered on the show, was something he apologized profusely for after getting banned. But then the spotlight on the situation shifted after Klein put out a video last Thursday called "Twitch Has a Major Problem." And in that video, Ethan claims that Twitch harbors anti-Semites and actively ignores it. And as some evidence, he points out that Twitch recently unbanned Sneeko and Fresh and Fit.
I feel like I need to drink more for this type of topic.
And then on top of that, he highlighted this segment from an official panel at TwitchCon, where multiple Arab content creators alongside some non-Arabs made a tier list.
Well, it's a panel hosted by Frogan and 4 of her friends, in which they have a tier list where they rate people where good is Arab and bottom is loves Sabra. Sabra is a very popular hummus brand. I know in Israel, it's pretty much in everybody's refrigerator, and it's kosher. They're an American company, but they've been the subject of...
I think what you're going to get at from this is that what Twitch was doing here was it's just really odd. It's really odd for you to be like this big content creation social media platform like Twitch to, I don't know, to have such odd people at, what was it, Twitch? Is this Twitch, some sort of big Twitch event? And it's just odd to have, I guess people talking about such subjects to me is just a little like, if I'm the head of Twitch, this is probably the last kind of like conversation I kind of want having at like one of my events, you know what I mean? Purely for PR, you know, it's just like, I don't know. To me, it's just kind of odd that they were like, sure, you can talk about how, you know, people's ethnicity and stuff at a major event of mine.
Pro-Palestine boycott. I mean, it's kind of just Arab good, Jew bad. I mean, I'm having a hard time seeing this any other way. And what's crazy is that I've been suspecting that Twitch has an anti-Semitism problem. Obviously, it started with Hasan platforming Houthi terrorists and showing unfettered terrorist propaganda on his channel.
And then along with that, Klein also added,
If they were really serious about anti-Semitism, Sneeko and Fresh and Fit would never have been brought back to the platform. It's just a no-brainer, right? But they were welcomed back with open arms. And I mean, their whole platform essentially for the...
That is true. I mean, if you know anything about the content creators, Sneeko and Fresh and Fit, this is gonna, in my opinion, they probably shouldn't. If you're wanting to have your platform be a place for all people and to be a welcoming place for people to have conversations and stuff, those are, in my opinion, those are probably not the people I think you want on your platform. Now, again, just my opinion. Yeah, Fresh and Fit, I think you could make an argument maybe, but a person like Sneeko, it's like, you can't have them on there.
Just been anti-Semitism. I'm not even kidding. And that's literally all they talk about.
Now, all of that then led to Frogan, who's a mod for Hasan Piker's stream and also streams herself, responding and writing on Twitter.
Like, in my opinion, the fringe people, the people that you feel are like kind of extreme with their topics and conversations, let them go to a Kick or something. What's Kick? And then there's Rumble. Like in my opinion, those people probably shouldn't be allowed on platforms like YouTube or Twitch and stuff. Scott Try says, yeah, anyone but Sneeko. Yeah, Sneeko's just... I know it's very simplistic, but it's kind of a bad dude. You know, it's like, you don't want...
Twitter. Even Klein lied again and said,
if you're running a platform, you probably don't want to be associated with that.
Quote, good equals Arab and Jew equals bad, which isn't what happened. Our tier list was, quote, who has Habibi Pass, which is a meme tier list we did with a variety of creators. Here is the clip with the context. Rather than sharing a clip from that event and adding, the whole basis of my podcast, Arabs with Capri and Raf, is that we are all Arabs from different religious backgrounds. I am Muslim, Capri is Christian, and Raf is Jewish. Sabra hummus is objectively the worst hummus to exist and is the unfortunate standard of hummus in the US. Right, and so with that, you had some feeling that was a reasonable response, though others still called it a dog whistle to say Israeli without saying, especially given the context Klein gave earlier about its popularity in Israel. However, all of that was kind of just the tip of the iceberg, because Frogan ended up deciding just a day later to open up an entirely new can of worms after saying on stream,
I have no pity at all for any fucking soldiers. I will never have any fucking pity for any fucking soldiers. U.S. military? Boo fucking who? I hope you get PTSD. The ones the ones I'm like whatever about the U.S. soldiers are the ones that like acknowledge that like what they did was wrong. They didn't know back then. Whatever. You're a good person in my book. The U.S. military that are like, yeah, like, you know, I did this back then, but now I know it's wrong. Like, I'm changed. Like,
again, this girl Frogan, she's kind of another person playing a part in this, and that she is a mod for Hasan's YouTube channel or Twitch. No, he's not. He's on Twitch, so she's a mod, and that's why like. That's another thing that it's like for these to be such tricky and touchy subjects. The last thing you would want to feel like is that your mods and your Twitch, you know, lean one way or the other, and I don't know. I think it's very odd for your mod to be like, I don't know. I gotta grab my phone. What was that?
You don't deserve the PTSD.
Never mind.
But like any other motherfucker, you're joining them. You're like, oh my god, I want my fucking Camaro, no student loans. Fuck you.
And like, I feel like a lot of people that have opinions like this, you kind of make it's kind of poisoning the well, you know, a little bit. It's like if you're someone who leans Democrat, to have people that claim to be liberal that are on your side that are making claims like this, it's like, dude, you're just making liberals look bad. You know what I mean? It's one of those things.
I hope you get PTSD, and I hope you get.
Like most people that are Democrats, I'm assured that they're not saying, "Oh, I hope people in the military get PTSD and get their health insurance canceled." You know what I mean? It's just like,
get no health insurance when you get back into fucking America.
Now with that, she did eventually give a sorta apology, but even with that, many users pointed out that Twitch's hateful conduct specifically covers veteran status, so they argued that she should be banned, arguing things like Twitch ban logic, Frogan saying military service members should get PTSD, no suspension, E-Girl streams softcore porn, 24-hour suspension, Asmongold calling Muslims inferior, 14-day suspension, being a Jew in Israel, unable to even create an account on the website, which I'll say we're going to talk about that last bit at the end of this story, but like always with situations like this led to people digging up old clips of her saying other questionable things. Like with a clip where it appears that she may be hinting that her cousin may be involved with Hezbollah. But either way, by Monday, Twitch eventually cracked down and banned Frogan, which led many to believe that it was because she was wishing American veterans get PTSD. However, it appears that that is not the official reason. Instead, it appears that it was because of her comments on that TwitchCon panel, which is over a month ago, because they also banned the others on that panel, which also...
But and again though, this is one of those things that kind of like, it should be biting Hasan in the rear end. It's like, I'll speak for myself. If I was as someone as big as Hasan, and I had someone saying stuff like this, and as a mod in my chat, not even just a mod, if you were just in my chat saying some stuff like that, I would probably be suspending I'd be suspending, you know, your chat or your channel, however that works. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just like, dude, how is one of your mods have this kind of opinions and stuff? And I think that's where, like, a lot of it, in my opinion, falls back on Hasan.
So led to calls that it was being racist against Middle Eastern voices.
And that's all that, like, I feel like, because Frogan and Ethan also went at it too, and like at the time they were supposed to be kind of friendly and stuff, so that's another thing. Like if someone if you have someone who's a friend of yours and one of your mods is like kind of coming after them and stuff, that's the kind of things I think Ethan was kind of super ticked off about early on.
Something that Klein felt was necessary if they wanted to tackle anti-Semitism seriously. And it also looks like the decision was in part taken because of pressure from the Anti-Defamation League, with the ADL even tweeting out a whole thread on this that started by saying, ADL spoke with the Twitch staff today after becoming aware of several concerning incidents on the social media platform and/or involving Twitch streamers in the past week, with them then going on to mention Frogan by name. And so with all this, we've seen Frogan not happy with her 30-day ban, saying 30-day ban for saying people like bottom of the barrel hummus, but other people get 2 weeks for advocating for the genocide of Palestinians. Got it. Or with that last part, a pretty obvious reference to...
I'll be honest, I find this whole conversation around the Israel thing to be very odd. Oh gosh, I'm gonna throw my opinion out there. I don't see why it's so bad to advocate for both sides. You know what I mean? I don't see why it's so bad to say that, like, one side absolutely does not deserve to, like, have, like, basically a genocide. Almost a is it full scale considered a genocide? Even if it's not, it's like one side does not deserve to have that happen to it, and then the other side, in my opinion, deserves to exist as well. I think that's the problem, is that there's so much, I don't know, there's so much animosity towards people that have an opinion on one side or the other. You know, it's like, oh, you're saying that this side, doesn't deserve to exist. It's like, I feel like you should be able to advocate for that. I don't know. That's my opinion. Don't come after me. You know, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like that's part of the problem is, with stuff like that, is that there's so much, like, tit for tat, and what is it, the whole saying, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Who said that? Is that Gandhi, I think? I don't know. And I know the specific political things are touchy subjects, which they should be. I don't think it should be an easy thing to talk about.
Panel, many of whom were avid pro-Palestinian voices, content creators like Hasan Piker began to react in frustration, and in particular to a lot of these controversies being spread and encouraged by various subreddits and the creators associated with.
But I also don't think that, like, as a content creator, if you are someone who is like, and I think this is something that Ethan has ever really talked about, is like, if you are somebody that does believe in peace and does believe that, like, things that like both sides should be able to, like, coexist and live, like, the way they want to live, I don't think allowing people in your community or people in your, like, as your mods to, like, say things that are kind of I don't know, mean, and to kind of I don't feel like going after people is the proper way that, like, we fix things. You know what I mean? Like just because you do something and then I immediately come after you with an incredible rage, that doesn't fix anything. Like, I don't feel like you learn anything. I don't feel like I learn anything. Like, it may feel good in the moment, and I know that's always a tricky thing to say with, like, war and stuff, but I don't know. I don't know. Who am I?
them, to which Hasan said,
there is no winning in this battle. Okay? There is no winning in this battle. There's nothing you and I or this community or anyone can do. Nothing at all. This is precisely the reason why I just eat it every fucking day. Okay? For the past 12 months, this has been endless. Okay? When they can't get anything off of me and my statements, then they fucking turn around and, you know, pick apart different statements from the chat. If they can't do that, they go after people that are also pro-Palestinian, but have smaller audiences.
Hasan then went on to claim that many people's opinions are turned into a caricature of who they are. Like, for example, he says that Muslim people are often painted as anti-Semitic no matter what, and with that arguing that there isn't much he can do to change people's minds about it.
There is nothing I can do. There is nothing I can do. All I can do is just take it. Just like all Capri Sun Poppy and Frogan and everyone else that's getting banned in this mass ban wave, that all they can do is take it.
But then at almost the exact same time Hasan was making these statements on his stream, Klein was also streaming, with most of that criticizing Twitch for having an anti-Semitism problem, right? Talking about the recent unbans and criticizing people like Hasan for letting it become commonplace on Twitch. And among his problems with Hasan is that he's promoting this guy from Yemen who many think, Klein included, is...
And again, like, things like this didn't have to get to this point if Hasan early on would have taken a stance with his mods. And I refuse to believe that you as a creator cannot, I don't want to say control, because control is a bad, but you can't, that you can't make your chat and your fan base malleable, especially if you're a larger content creator who has money and can pay for mods. Like, for Hasan, his whole thing is that he's always said is, like, when him and Ethan were really going at it, and, like, at the time, they were, like, really good friends. And like, Hasan, like, Ethan was, like, basically crying at him, telling them, like, you're just gonna let your community and chat say things like this to me? And Hasan was like, Ethan, I don't know what you want me to do. I can't control my community. I can't control my chat. And it's like, dude, what do you mean you can't control that? You have mods, and your mods are the ones who are supposed to, like if I have a good friend, and not to throw you out, but if I have a really good friend and Skylar Twilight in chat, another good friend, but if Skylar Twilight was to, like, go hard at, like, a friend of mine who I know or something, and it was like, and it was just completely out of bounds. It was just, like, saying, like, terrible things and calling them names and stuff, like I would be suspending and banning. You know what I mean? Like, which I think that kind of goes back to the idea that, like, in my opinion, I don't think Hasan ever really viewed Ethan as friends or friendly. I know that's more of a conspiracy, but I think Skylar Twilight mind blown. No, you're cool, Skylar. But you get where I'm coming at. Like, yeah, like if somebody was going after someone who I, like, considered a friend, like, I would, yeah, ban, suspend. Like, what's the problem? And the fact that Hasan never did any of that stuff for somebody who supposedly was his friend was like... And the problem is like, even in your community, I feel like you don't even need to suspend or ban. Like, I feel like most of the time, if you're just advocate to your community to do something, most of the time I feel like they like you enough, well, they'll kind of placate a little bit, you know what I mean? Like you guys get what I'm saying, right? Like, most, like I get it to you if Hasan on stream was just like, listen, guys, please don't go after Ethan, don't do this, don't do that. I feel like they would listen to him. They're fans of his channel. They're going to do whatever Hasan wants. Like, I don't know. I don't even feel like he necessarily needs to ban or suspend or anything.
Involved in Houthi piracy. So this is
the fact that he, like, never even, like, said stuff like that is crazy.
And also blasted Hasan and others because of clips like this.
I think, like, anyone who does our general job, and especially someone like him who I only make $3 million a month. I'm middle class. He makes $30 million a month.
He's upper middle class.
He's upper middle class, and it's like, we won the lottery.
Oh,
Why
yeah,
are we-
Robot Slayer himself is, yeah, or at least say that's not what he condones, and that's all I think Ethan and some other people in that community wanted. But I think they just wanted Hasan just to like not condone it. Like that's like as a friend of somebody, I feel like that should be fairly easy to do. You know what I mean? Like even if you don't want to like if you go around and start banning and suspending, that could affect your career or whatnot. Like even if you're worried about your career and ticking off your fan base, at least tell your fan base that like they're like, listen, this isn't cool, guys. Please don't do this. And then if it is continuing to go on to be like, sorry, Ethan, sorry, everyone, this is not what I want. You know what I mean? Like, again, if you're somebody's friend, that's what I think you do. But alas, I think it's pretty visible, and I think that's why I do think Ethan has been incredibly petty because of all of this, and to a certain extent, I think he has for a reason. But like, I do think Ethan's been a little overly petty, and he's talked about it a little bit too much. And I think he should have. I probably think he should have dropped it a little bit, or as much as he could. I think he's gotten a lot of pushback just because he's continuously bashed on Hasan and everything, and it's like, I don't know where I was going with that.
Thinking about the
This motherfucker says you
I think
are
my
rich,
drink's
so
kicking
why
in
do you
already a
care
little bit.
about anti-Semitism. Also, like Hasan is.
I
fucking
put, like,
as
2
rich-
shots
like,
in this
probably
thing.
as rich as I am. Let's be honest. He downplays as well. He gets like the same concurrent viewers as we do, and he collects all the money straight to the dome himself. Okay, so like the same logic. Just say, hey, son, why are you getting so worked up about Gaza, man?
And that is another thing that, like, I actually used to be a fan of Hasan, and I would say it tapered down a little bit due to this whole situation. But I think since then I've kind of had a little bit more realizations about Hasan a little bit, and I think one big thing that I don't really like that he does is he kind of. Ethan is right. I do think he plays himself up to be a little bit too much of like an anti-capitalist, and that he's, you know, kind of a working guy, and he's. I think one thing I've learned about him is that I think he's kind of a. I don't think he's like a salt of the earth guy. Like his parents were like wealthy. His parents owned, I think his mom owns like a bunch of real estate and stuff. His parents were wealthy growing up. I don't know if it's true or not. You can fact check me on this. I'm pretty sure he was a draft dodger in Turkey. Like he left Turkey because Turkey, similar to many other countries, European countries or whatever, has like a intense what do they call it? Mandatory enlistment. So when you reach like 18, 19, or 20, you must join the military, or they throw you in jail. So I think again, fact check me, but I think his family paid for him to like leave Turkey and go to America so he wouldn't have to join the military. So he is like, he acts like he isn't, but I get the feeling he's a very privileged individual, and I don't know. That's my opinion.
Man, we won the lottery. You're rich, dude. Just chill. Like, what a pathetic fucking response.
And honestly, I mean, for this part, it kind of just goes on and on.
Let's be honest. He lives in the middle of LA in California. Like come on. You've got money. That's what I meant, is that whole idea that he doesn't have the kind of money to moderate his chat, moderate what his community is saying. It's like, no, You have the
there,
means
'cause
to do
they're
that.
doing all these during live streams. We're talking about tons and tons of hours. I'll link to it down below. It's just something we can't cover point by point in this show. So if you want to do an even deeper dive, you have the tools at your fingertips. But then, as I promised I would come back and touch on, something that many people have pointed to as proof that Twitch was being anti-Semitic is the fact that Israelis weren't able to sign up to the site. Right? Among others, you had political commentators like Destiny bring this up, and also Twitch said that it fixed it shortly afterward, saying when signing up for a Twitch account, you can select an account verification method, email or phone, for added protection. Following the October 7th, 2023 attacks, we temporarily disabled sign-ups with email verification in Israel and Palestine.
This whole thing
Going
was
on to
super
claim we
weird
did
with
this to
Twitch
prevent
too. I
uploads
don't
of
quite.
graphic material related to the attack and to protect the safety of users. But Twitch then going on to say that not letting users sign up with an email later on, that was a mistake and just an oversight and that it's fixed now. So this, as you might have noticed, there was a big community note on that. With that note claiming that Twitch's explanation is not true and that even phone verification signups weren't working. With now all of that said and as things continue to play out in real time, I gotta pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts with this mess? Any and all of it. I know there are a number of things at play here. Any and all of it. I'd love to hear from you in those comments down below.
You've been filled in. That's Philip DeFranco. Billy D's an interesting guy. I'm not as big on Philip DeFranco as I used to, mainly because of his my full screen work? Yeah. Mainly because Philip DeFranco has like almost completely changed the type of content that he covers. He used to mainly cover like internet drama and stuff like this, but now Philly D, all he does is cover his politics now and real events. And this is one of the few times I've actually seen him actually cover like an internet pop culture type thing happening. So good on you, Philly D. All right, so what do we want to tackle next? This is the Philip DeFranco Show, and you've been filled in. What's another direction we want to tackle this through? We could tackle it from the Reddit angle. Yeah, let's tackle it from the Reddit angle. Let's go back to our buddy Mutahar, some ordinary gamer.
And ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, Reddit is absolutely in a weird spot.
So again, this whole Reddit thing again stems from a lot of the H3 Hasan drama. So that's why a lot of this is very interesting. And a lot of this is going to be huge in terms of ramifications. I think, hopefully, I don't remember if some ordinary gamer mentions it, but Ethan is planning on suing Reddit because of almost the same exact thing that's happening with Hasan. Reddit is not moderating people and Reddit pages within its website, and I don't know. The whole Reddit thing is very. The whole Reddit thing is almost worse because of the what's the word I'm thinking of? Because people's identities and everything can be hidden. And like at least with YouTube, if Frogan says something, you know Frogan said something. If Denim said something, you know Denim said something. But like Reddit is such a tricky, like, who is controlling all of these things? You don't know who's attacking you and who, you know, if they're an actual person or not.
Right now. But you know what is weird? Our merch, ladies and gentlemen, it's got 12 days left. So if you want to get yourself a nice new hoodie, a coffee mug, check it out at someordinarygamers.store, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, look at that. It glows in the dark, ladies and gentlemen. It actually glows. You can wear this with the red lights on. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, all things aside, let's get back
all right,
to
Mutahar,
Reddit. Now,
what am I doing?
If you're somebody that's been watching the...
Scarlet Twilight says, yeah, Reddit is not that great with moderation. You know, I know a lot of people like to come down on moderation and I guess management and stuff, but like, I do feel like the internet is an important place to have moderation and to have people checking in on stuff like that, because there's so much anonymity. That's the word I was thinking of. Because there's so much anonymity on the internet, it almost feels like the internet is just like the wild, wild west in terms of people going around and saying almost whatever they want. And it's just like, when you go into a comment section on Facebook, on YouTube, on any of these platforms, Instagram, you know for a fact that a lot of the things that people say, if they were to say in real life to their to their families or to their coworkers or their bosses. It's like, dude, yeah, I know you ain't like that in real life, because if you said that, you're not holding down a job with some of the things some people say on the internet. You know what I mean? So, yeah, like I said, that's why I feel like moderation and I guess just oversight is a super important thing. You cannot, free speech is a real thing, and it is something that should be empowered. But even free speech, in my opinion, should have some limits. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. I mean, that's what the ideas of libel and defamation are for. That's why people sue for those things, is because, sure, you can say whatever you want, but like, I can sue you for it, if it's something I don't like and I have the means and the money. So I don't know that, but again, that's what things like precedent, is it precedence? Precedent. I can't think of the word. That's what the idea of precedent is for, is that, like, I actually really hope Ethan goes through with and is successful in suing Reddit, because a lot of companies only react to losing money and only react to bad publicity. So I'm hoping, like, I don't even wish that Reddit goes away. Like, I feel like there's an important place for a lot of sites like that. But the only way to hold them accountable and to have them actually put forth an effort to, like, make their places a safe space for everybody is, unfortunately, to hit them in the pocketbook. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks. It is a really terrible way to have to fix things, but, like, hey, if Ethan's suing and getting a bunch of money and hurting the brand of Reddit, lights a fire under their behind and has them actually put forth an effort to, like, watch what people are saying, it's like, okay, if that's what's required, then that's what's required. I don't know if I went on long on that.
The old stock market. You probably noticed that Reddit is tanking. Ooh, boy, it's absolutely
I feel like I'm
nothing right now.
I feel like I'm talking better. I feel like I'm more. I feel like you can understand me a little bit more now that I'm, like, feeling my drink kick in. Isn't that weird? I need to stop talking. Drinking makes me talk a lot.
Because the stock market is a little bit on the poo-poo side right now. You're seeing a lot of that red. Yeah, there's a bit of an uncertainty going on in the world's trade right now, okay? Some people don't know, with the amount of job losses, tariffs, all the craziest things going on, the stock market has seen some pretty massive wipes recently. I mean, as of a day ago, apparently the stock market lost $4 trillion in actual value, apparently. There was a massive sell-off because people are obviously a little bit worried about recent events right now. So Reddit is not just the only loser in the world of stocks. However, it is a pretty big loser, and that is something to obviously keep a focused attention on. Now, Reddit is a social media company, and obviously they have a lot of competition. Reddit was not the
Skylar Twilight says drinking got you yapping.
Doesn't know anything
Definitely.
about Reddit is
Definitely a little bit.
social media website where you go to. There's subreddits where you can basically find niche communities, and you can basically converse and learn new things in them, right? For instance, one subreddit that I pretty much visit is r/Linux Gaming, for instance. When I want to know things about Linux gaming, I go to this specific subreddit, and I just...
All right, if you guys could, give me 1 minute. I'm already going on my first bathroom break. I'm going to get a refill of a drink, too, so un momento. All right, sorry about that. First bathroom break of the night. Already an hour in, sheesh. Well, so I tell you what, guys, I don't have anything planned, really, else to check out. So I think I'm just going to keep watching this. I'm going to keep learning about what's going on with H3 and some of this other stuff. If you guys want, if you want me to check out anything, again, feel free to throw in the Discord or throw it in the YouTube chat, and I will definitely look into it.
Just learn what I need to. Now, obviously, the end of it, Reddit is kind of just like the internet's massive news site. You can get a whole bunch of, whatever goofy information you wanted as you want information about day-to-day things, right? So it's that kind of a website. And of course, it wasn't the first of its kind. There were sites like Dig, for instance. If anybody doesn't remember this is Dig back in circa 2008. It looks very similar to something like
What the heck
Reddit.
is Dig?
Obviously, Dig is in fact dead. But Reddit's big nightmare is obviously competition. And there's platforms like X or Twitter that exist, which are basically like Reddit in terms of getting your news and daily aggregation. But obviously, Dig is also back too. They've got around 10.7 million signups, and you can slap in an email right there and basically get ready to be digging again, ladies and gentlemen.
What the heck is Dig?
So yeah,
Interesting.
Reddit's actually got a little bit more competition aligning up, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. Now, Reddit's made some pretty serious misconducts in the past, all right, some pretty big mistakes, if you will, too. For anybody that doesn't remember, about 2 years ago, there was like a Reddit blackout where Reddit had like API changes. They basically fucked with free applications, third-party applications that were actually
Never heard of Dig
making
before.
their
One,
site
I guess
better.
now I have. I've
And
never
again,
heard of it.
Many Reddit boards actually blacked themselves out. They went private. Moderators decided to take the little amount of power they had into their own hands. Until, of course, that entire protest went tits up when moderators effectively gave up. Reddit jumped in and opened up some of the most popular boards. And since then, there has actually been a very sharp rise, in my personal opinion, regarding Reddit bots. But before we go into Reddit bots, one of the reasons why I don't want to see Reddit fail at all is because I have actually been using it as like an assist for Google search. Now, I think most Google search, in fact, most search is relatively unusable, but Google search is basically still the best of the best. Now, a lot of people have been using things like ChatGPT, Grok, I think it's Perpetuity AI or whatever the hell, Perplexity, to basically search for things on the internet, right? You give it a prompt.
Isn't Grok
it looks
the
through hundreds upon hundreds of websites to give you accurate or whatever
Isn't
accurate
that the Facebook one or whatever?
to dig up. But generally
no,
speaking,
that's the
when
Elon
you're
one,
on something like Google, right? For instance, if I wanted to look up, I don't know, Severance Theories, right? It's a great show. Love this show. Beautiful show. But generally speaking, you see the next actual result. It's literally Reddit, okay? And this is, by the way, not on like my actual like Google account. This is just me using it on a fresh, brand new like incognito account, okay? So again, a lot of people when they search for anything obviously throw in Reddit, and Reddit is one of those places where human beings come to put up the actual topics, get people to read into situations, and of course, actual human beings are interacting.
I don't know why I'm listening to him explain what Reddit is. I want to
just festering across the internet. Like, even if I wanted to look up Rainbow Six Siege, appears to be Reddits where, like, I guess creators can come and make a subreddit where people can pay and get access to. And I think they're trying to get into, like, the Patreon OnlyFans market, I shit you not. Just because, like, again, they want to keep people on one platform. They want to keep the money revolving
Grok
on
is
one
for
platform.
Twitter. Yeah,
And,
I thought it was Elon oriented.
Overall successful. I think it's
it was like his one that he bought.
Which, for anybody that doesn't know that term, intuitification is also known as crapification or things like platform decay. It's a term used to describe a pattern in which online products and services decline in quality over time. Initially, vendors create high-quality offerings to attract users, like Reddit was once a very high-quality service, and then they degrade those offerings to better serve business customers, right? So, for instance, Google comes in, scrapes user information, all to just inshitify their own search with AI and basically have this circular Ouroboros feedback loop with Reddit. And then, of course, degrade their service to users and business customers to maximize profits for shareholders, which since Reddit is now a IPO, which is now a public stock, clearly they have shareholders they need to give a shit about. For the end user, none of this is truly amazing stuff. Now, since the Reddit blackout and a lot of these Reddits have finally opened up, it's basically shown that for most of the big popular subreddits, really the administrators, which are the paid, sort of the upper echelon of the Reddit community, can basically control, open, and modify to their will. And of course, the moderators, who were once, believed to be some of the most powerful wizards on all of Reddit.com, which basically amounts to really nothing in real life, these people realized that, yeah, maybe we're not all that powerful. And of course, a lot of these communities started to fragment into smaller communities. And I would say the overall site, just from a personal perspective, didn't seem to be all what it used to before that big subreddit blackout. In fact, I would say a lot of the comments and a lot of the stuff that I read on the website is, again, not actual human interaction, freedomnow.org, when a bot is talking form. And again, Reddit is built off of actual human interactions, okay? At least in my opinion. When you start having more bots constantly invading those discussions that humans are supposed to be having, all to usually just sell shit or promote something, it completely makes a platform unusable. And honestly, because Reddit is used so much in Google searches, or really many search engines, I can see that this level of AI slop affecting actual search engines even more. AI is slowly poisoning a lot of
forgive me, I'm gonna see if I can
once
find
loved
something
on the
else to
internet.
watch.
Okay, dead internet theory is
I
not
want to
even a
see
theory,
if
it's
there's
just a matter of fact.
someone else talking about
it's not just bots
subject.
on Reddit that are the problem. Bots are a problem on pretty much many social media services out there, okay? Seriously, just look at the amount of bots that are in any YouTube comment section, or just look at the amount of bots that are in any X section or Facebook, comment section. It's just a overall problem. But for Reddit, again, which is a site that is built around that, again, human connection first and foremost, the human input of data, and of course that human communication, I think it's even more devastating for that platform if they don't get this shit done right, if they don't fix it. You can actually increase your users, but if you can't address this AI slot problem, it can absolutely, in my opinion, probably kill this website. Or at least get people to at least...
Oh, there's an interesting video. I kind of want to see...
Now, the darker side of the story resides in...
Alright, sorry, I don't feel like I'm getting much out of the Mutahar video. There is another video I just saw that I'm kind of interested to see what this guy has to say. If you guys don't know, this guy is... Lewis Spears. I don't quite know what his perspective is. I'm kind of curious. I've never watched one of his videos. Anyone heard of Lewis Spears? I'm curious what he's got to say about this. Oh, he's got Dragon Ball stuff in the background. I already like him, I think. All right, Lewis, what do you got to say?
Every time I log on to Twitter, I need to watch a back and forth between Ethan Klein and Hasan Piker like it's a part-time job. Does anyone involved in this do anything other than talk shit about the other group? I feel like Ethan Klein versus Hasan Piker is like Israel-Palestine in a microcosm. It feels like they've been fighting for my entire life, and it doesn't look like they're going to stop fighting anytime soon. Can we all go back to 2017 when YouTube was fun, when everyone was good? Remember that? Let's go back to that. Remember when Ethan Klein was doing Vape Nation?
My name's Ethan Klein. I'm the CEO of Vape.
All right, I see his viewpoint
that was
of
good.
it.
I missed that. Now it's just my name's Ethan Klein, and the CEO of Twitch is secretly in Hamas. Don't get me wrong, Ethan's not the only one annoying me with this situation. Hasan Piker, he was a lot better in 2017 too. Have a look at this.
I want to say thank you to Miley Cyrus for showing off her camel toe at the VMAs the other night. If the 15-year-old Hasan Piker from high school watching Miley Cyrus on the Disney Channel, yes, I used to do that.
Yeah, man, I used to watch the Disney Channel even though it was fucking gay. What happened to this Hasan? Where did he go?
Yes, I used to do that. Would fucking see where she is now. He would give me a mental high five across time and land and space.
Across time and land and space, or in other words, from the river to the sea?
All right, he's talking kind of fast. I need to slow him down a little bit.
I always knew
I like this guy
Hannah
so far.
Montana was a little fucking slut. Don't even try to hide.
How good was YouTube
Oh my
in
gosh.
2014? You could just make videos.
What did he say there?
Calling women sluts and people were 2014. You could just make videos. How good was YouTube
What did
in
Hasan?
2014?
Wow.
You could just make videos calling women sluts and people were like, "Oh, this is great. I'm going to watch this while I have breakfast." Before we get into this incredibly
Hold on, where was that?
divisive video, come
Would fucking see where she is now. He would give me a mental high five.
I
across
didn't
time
know
and
Hasan said
land
that.
and
Sheesh.
space.
across time and land and space, or in other words, from the river to the sea.
I always knew Hannah Montana was a little fucking slut. Don't even try to hide.
How good was YouTube in 2014? You could just make videos.
I can't tell if he was being
calling
serious or
women
if that
sluts,
was
and people were like,
a bad
"Oh, this is
joke."
great. I'm going to watch this while I have breakfast." Before we get into this incredibly divisive video, come and see me live in 2025. LooseBiz.com. Melbourne starts this month.
Oh,
and
this
then
guy's a
on all over
comedian.
Australia.
I was gonna
UK
say,
dates announced soon.
he's talking very
and I'm going
fast.
to be doing many, many more cities. If your city is not listed here, click the link, chuck your city in,
An
and I'll shoot you a
Australian
message when I'm on the
comedian.
way.
Okay.
Enjoy. I think these guys were both funnier when they were a bit chubby. You know what I mean? They dieted themselves out of humor. They both look a lot better, and I'm sure they're a lot more healthy, but, you know, dudes with man tits are a little bit funnier. I take that back. I don't know about Hasan Piker calling Miley Cyrus a slut being funny, but you know what? He looks funny. He kind of looks like Steven Crowder. Have you noticed that? For real, dude, it's uncanny. Chubby Hasan Piker looks exactly like current-day Steven Crowder. Both of them known to call women sluts. Although, in Hasan's defense, he was saying that to a stranger. Steven's more likely to do that to his own wife while she's pregnant.
Watch it. I've seen this. This video is so messed up.
I know it's not unreasonable.
I'm so glad this Steven Crowder guy like disappeared
Nothing
after
says
this.
traditional conservative values like smoking a cigar in your pregnant wife's face and telling her she can't leave the house unless she is to do the groceries while heavily pregnant. We love it. Sorry to get nostalgic on you guys. I just missed 2015 when Ethan Klein was doing Vape Nation jokes, Hasan Piker was sexist, and Israel-Palestine were getting along just fine. Look, I'm telling some jokes here, but the main point of this video is to say, whoa, what's going on? Like, why are child services being called on YouTubers because of a tiff between friends?
Robot Sarah himself said, "Oh, I hated that guy." Oh, Steven Crowder? Yeah, very, very bad dude. Like, like out of all of like there's a lot of them that I don't think are that great, way on the conservative side. Like you've got like the Charlie Kirks and the Steven Crowders and the Tim Pools. I don't think any of them are good dudes by any means, but like Steven Crowder was a particularly annoying one simply because of, I think the guy had some things he wasn't telling people about, and he was kind of taking it out on like in politics. And it's clear he did because, of course, that video with his wife, and there was another thing about sexual assault allegations with one of his employees. What was his name? His employee's name was like, they called him gay something, and it was like, I think Steven Crowder had some closeted emotions. I don't know if that sounds right. I think he had things he was hiding that. Listen, you don't treat your wife that way, in my opinion, unless you're like hiding something.
Like, that is absolutely insane. And it really, really goes to show that anyone who uses Reddit for anything other than like an answer to a question is probably evil and very, very sad and broken on the inside. This week, Ethan Klein made a video revealing that child services showed up to his home over what seems to be just false reports about child neglect.
In my long career on YouTube, I've pretty much seen it all. I've been swatted several times.
Gosh, I feel old and outdated, says Robot Slayer himself. Oh, is it because you're not following anything here? I mean, I it's weird. It's one of those things where like I kind of think it's probably good to not be too close following anything that's happening here, but I also think like, I don't know, I got nothing else to do other than I like these drama channels and following what's going on here. But don't get me wrong, I do think probably being detached from stuff like this is probably healthy for your mental well-being, your mental sanity, just per se. I like this guy so far. What's this guy's name? I'll subscribe for now. Lewis Spears. I like your opinion. He's funny. He's a funny man.
FBI 3 times. They were all to warn us of a credible threat against our lives.
Someone filed a report claiming to be a former employee and saying that there was dog shit all over the house, that the children were eating and then getting sick, and
So what they're talking about is there, like he said, there was a false report about someone calling CPS, getting it to essentially go to H3's house, and the guy that took responsibility from it, Robot Slayer himself says, I used to be invested until I kept my head down. I'm learning new characters every day. Again, I do feel like that's probably the proper thing to do. I can't help it, man. I like the drama. I think it's mainly because I don't take it seriously. You know, I'm not saying I don't take. I hate to call myself this. I feel like I'm a pretty unserious person. In terms of like, I take it seriously, but I don't take it to heart. I think maybe that's more what I'm saying. Like, I think it's. I'm good at detaching myself from what's happening. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's good or bad, but I can kind of detach myself and just kind of observe and form an opinion and then leave it there. You know, it's not something that I'm going to sit on or dig deep on. You know what I mean? It's just like, I'll give my opinion. You know, it's not the end of the world. If someone doesn't like it, okay, you know, I'm sorry. Like, whatever. I don't know.
CPS showed up to his home to interview his children, and that's like a pretty traumatic experience for parents and also for children. A lot of people are saying, oh, you know, there's...
Is it weird right now that I want to go play Ocarina of Time? I think this drinking is making me want to play a game. Maybe we'll spend a little bit more time watching this, and I think I might. How much time do I have? I could probably fit in like a 2-hour Ocarina of Time stream if I hurry up with this.
So young, they'll probably just forget it. But like, when kids are too young to form memories, that's usually when their personality is being formed, and stress and anger and fear from parental figures and strangers in the home, that can really mess up a kid. So this, to me, is like a real evil act that just harms children, that doesn't help anyone's cause. Because it really does seem like this was done as like a way to get at Ethan for, in their view, being pro-genocide. But here's the thing. I'm not so sure if doxing and calling the police to show up at a streamer's house helps the Palestinian struggle at all. How are you helping Gazans that are trying to survive a genocide? Me? Oh, I'm calling CPS on a YouTuber and trying to get his kids taken away from him. And I don't really know. Maybe the butterfly effect of that will somehow get clean drinking water to children in Palestine. I don't know. I'm just a very angry, hateful person.
One time, most recently, he came at 7 a.m.
And that is another thing that, like, a lot of these people that are part of this conversation, the people that are kind of mixed up in a lot of the beef, that are calling CPS, that are, you know, sending in bomb threats or whatever, threats in general. A lot of these people, the more that you find out about some of them, a lot of them aren't. They're all like inside the country or in some other. They're like they're not attached to like Palestine or Israel. Like Frogan lives in LA, Hasan lives in LA, Denim probably lives in LA. This other guy, what was his name? Bad Empanada, the guy that's taken credit for calling the CPS on H3. He lives in like Argentina or something. It's like none of these people have any like. I don't really get the sense that they like. I don't want to say don't care about the plight of the Palestinians, but it's like what can you do for the Palestinians, or whatever side you're on? What exactly can you do for them here in America? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. To me, it's just all kind of I don't know how to put it nicely. It's just like, it's like, oh, I'm in LA, but I've got your back, and it's like okay, but you have no control over what's happening over there. You can't like nothing you do affects anything that's going, like nothing you do here, like in me here in Florida. If I were to like speak at the top of my lungs about Netanyahu, like what does that do? What does that do to the 3-4 viewers that are watching my stream right now? You know what I mean? Like I feel like people have an irrational amount of perspective on how much power and how much they can dictate something. It's like short of you flying over to Gaza and joining the battle yourself. It's like what can you do? Like I can't like, and you only have a certain amount of reach. I don't know. To me, it just seems like bad people kind of going after another content creator. It's just like, I don't know. I'm rambling.
And said, do not open any packages until you hear from me, as we have credible bomb threats against you that we found online.
Whenever I hear about stuff like this, I just think, why on earth would you ever be a live streamer? Anyone who streams for more than like 4 to 6 hours a day seems to attract the most unhinged audience that literally want to see you die on stream. Like, they're the most unhinged people. And of course,
man, my community's not like that. My community wants to see me strive and become the best ChazmaN I can be. I already know that. You're wrong. What's your name? You're wrong, Lewis Spears, about my community. I have the best community.
I'm not trying to victim blame here, but God is the...
My community loves the 6-hour avowed streams that I bring them. Skylar Twilight says, just saw this video and apparently you can be arrested for watching anime? What? That doesn't make sense. What kind of anime? Is it the H word anime? The ate the hen tea hentai? I'm not trying not to say it. That kind of anime? The only one I could think that makes sense is what's the Lolly. Lolly. If you're watching anime that's lolly or lolly anime, you deserve to be arrested. I'm sorry.
It would have to be some kind of evil force in the world. That's disgusting. No, look, for real, this is like horrifying to see, and it's a real boundary and a line that should never be crossed, which is messing with people's families and children.
Robot Sarah said, "I can't."
I
No,
am
you
joking
don't.
to try and
You
keep
do
the
not have
video,
to.
like,
That's on.
entertaining, but this is completely fucked, and it should not
I would
ever
hope.
happen. But
That
I
is,
don't know
that's
how
not
you
something that I
stop
feel like
this
needs to be
when,
asked.
When you are a streamer that engages in the most divisive topic online, which is Israel-Palestine. And I'm not saying that they should stop talking about it, Hasan or Ethan both. I just don't know how you can avoid this happening. This is a common problem that happens with all popular live streamers. But when you start involving politics like this, that people, people on both sides have family that have died or may die, this is when you get psychos that think that they're actually at war with a streamer because they have a differing opinion about a conflict. The type of person that reports fake crimes to authorities to get streamers killed
Bad
or
people,
their
yes.
children taken away from them
Agreed.
is just the most unhinged individual online and really, really just lives in sorrow and sadness.
And that's another thing Lewis Spears is bringing up a great point too, is that, remember how we were talking earlier about Hasan? If Hasan was such a good friend or person, in my opinion, like when he found out that somebody was going after, or someone's calling CPS and going after Ethan, that should be another thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think, actually, I'm going to take that back. I do think Hasan did address that and I'm trying to remember. Did he actually address and not condone that? Alright, you know what? Strike that from the record. I do think Hasan said that that's not cool, which I would think that's the obvious thing to say, would be like, yeah, it's not cool to call CPS on somebody and try and get their kids taken from them. That's pretty obvious. I think what's most what is more disappointing is that I do think Hasan didn't condone it, but he didn't like admit who was like kind of spreading that type of thing around, when it's people in his vicinity that are kind of spreading that. Like Ethan was showing a stream of Denims where she's talking about the subject, and like everyone in her chat is saying, "Oh my gosh, Ethan's kids are eating poo, call CPS." And like, it's like, come on, like those, like, you can't have people in your chat saying that. And then Hasan has been talking up the guy Bad Empanadas, who a lot of people believe is responsible for it, and Hasan in the past has been on the record saying that he'll never have anything to do with Bad Empanada, and it's like
Sadness. And you can see that
Ooh, I'm
when
getting
you
the
have a look at
hiccups.
some of the people that are celebrating the fact that CPS got sent to Ethan's house.
CPS called me. They're investigating you, homie.
Oh,
And
this
you're
guy.
posting on Instagram.
or lady, I'm sorry.
Ah. Oh, I hope his kids get taken away from him.
I hope someone takes away your hairdresser's scissors.
I apologize. This them.
What the fuck have they done to you? Actually,
That is a very, very odd opinion to have, to kind of like
celebrating the
to be
fact
kind
that
of like
CPS got sent to Ethan's
celebrating
house.
that
CPS
is
They're
very odd.
investigating you, homie, and you're posting on Instagram. Ah. Oh, I hope his kids get taken away from him.
I hope someone
See what I mean? That's an incredibly effed up thing, in my opinion, to say. Like, I don't. What do you benefit from having that opinion put on the internet? Like, how do you benefit? I mean, I guess maybe they did benefit because Ethan actually like addressed that video, but like, short of that, like, what do you get
takes
at
away
it?
your
I don't know.
hairdresser's scissors. What the fuck have they done to you? Actually, I know you've done that to yourself. Have you ever seen a cry for help louder than a haircut like that? Dear God, man. Milady, whatever. Z. That's fucking wild, brother.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at that. Milady.
Fix that. If you look at the
I'm laughing
mirror
at the
and
fact that he said milady, not that he was got their or they them. I'm sorry.
you look like that, you're not allowed to have an opinion about anyone else's life because you gotta fucking fix yours.
Who says milady? I'm laughing more at that.
Not to get old Jordan Peterson clean your room, but dear God, clean your room. Look, I know you live in the car, but clean the car at least. Stop it with the blue rinse. I've had blue hair before. It was a horrible mistake. It made me sad. I can see that it's doing that to you.
Dude, this guy. Is it weird that this guy looks exactly like Troy Baker? Did anybody else notice that? Am I the first person on the internet to notice he looks just like Troy Baker? Can I find an image of him? Is that not what Troy Baker looks like? Hold on. Is this Troy Baker? Why does he look exactly like him? Has anyone else called him Troy Baker? Hold on. Why am I'm just like, I feel like mid-sentence, I'm like, wait, that's Troy Baker right there. Where can I find an image of Troy Baker? Give me a good image. Sure, right here. Here you go, see? Look at that guy. No. Look at this guy. That guy. This guy. Is that not Troy Baker? What the frick? Look at that. That's Troy Baker. Are they twins? Dude, that's weird. Different eye colors. Troy's got blue. This guy's got like kind of green. That's so weird. They're like almost the same facial shape, different ears though. All right, maybe I'm drinking too much. Okay, all right. Very odd. I'm the first person on the internet to call that out. So.
Have you ever seen a cry for help louder than a haircut like that? Dear God, man. Milady, whatever. Z, that's fucking wild, brother. Fix that. If you look in the mirror and, but I just don't think that what is
wait, holy, he
happening
does
to
this
Ethan
Robot
Klein
Slayer.
is something that
He
is
does look
cool
like him.
or
What this is
okay. And it's
Skylar?
pretty
That's
wild
insane.
that
Yeah.
No one is kind of saying that, hey, maybe.
All right, so I don't know. Do we feel like we've gotten enough? I feel like I've learned. I've had a good time with you guys. Is there anything else I care about? Let's see. What else we got here?